Hi friends, welcome back to 5 Minute Modern. My name is Cindy, and today we're discussing one of the greatest and most underappreciated American artists of the 20th century, Beauford Delaney. Delaney was truly a painter's painter, with a circle of friends and admirers that included some of the greatest artists and writers of his day. And yet, during his life, he faced racism, homophobia, and mental illness that held his work back from its rightful place at the forefront of American art history. Delaney was born in 1901 to a prominent black family in Knoxville. His father was a pastor, and the family took a leadership role in their community church. Delaney showed a talent for painting from a young age, and was eventually noticed by fellow Knoxville artist Lloyd Branson. Branson was a traditional Southerner with sympathy for the Confederacy, but he nonetheless took great interest in supporting Delaney's career due to the young black man's incredible talent. Delaney faced many obstacles as he continued his art studies due to the racism of the time. Many art schools didn't accept black students, and all of them barred black artists from figure drawing sessions with white models. Nonetheless, Delaney was able to find classes in Boston, and eventually continued on to New York City, arriving in 1929 at the height of the Harlem Renaissance. Spanning the 1920s and 30s, the Harlem Renaissance was a time when Black American culture flourished across literature, art, music, and more in the Harlem neighborhood in Manhattan. Beauford met and befriended many of the leading figures of the Harlem Renaissance, painting portraits of Claude McKay and W.E.B. Du Bois. As Delaney continued painting, he developed a number of admirers outside the black community as well, such as Stuart Davis, Georgia O'Keeffe, and Henry Miller. Miller in particular would be a lifelong supporter of Delaney's work and a close friend to the artist. But Delaney's most important and enduring friendship would be with the writer James Baldwin. Baldwin was only 16 when he went to Harlem in search of Delaney's studio. Delaney had a reputation by that time as being not just a great painter, but also a considerate man who generously dispensed wise advice. Delaney was immediately taken with the young writer, with whom he shared a great deal in common. In addition to both being talented black men raised in church-going families, both Delaney and Baldwin were gay. Delaney struggled mightily with his sexuality throughout his life, working to keep it tightly compartmentalized and never having a serious romantic relationship. In spite of his inability to accept his own homosexuality, Delaney encouraged Baldwin to accept his. It's been suggested by some historians that Delaney was attracted to Baldwin, owing largely to the charged eroticism of Delaney's 1941 portrait of Baldwin, which he titled Dark Rapture. Delaney was a master portrait painter, with especially great sensitivity to light and the variations in color driven by changes in light or shadow. Whatever Delaney's feelings, it's clear that Baldwin held only platonic feelings in return. Baldwin regarded Delaney as his most important mentor, calling him a spiritual father. In 1953, Delaney followed Baldwin to Paris, where the writer had found some relief from the oppressive racism of mid-century America. Although moving to Paris may have helped relieve some of the racism that Delaney faced, he happened to leave New York just as the city was becoming the world's foremost art scene with the rise of the abstract expressionists. Delaney also left many of his paintings behind in New York without keeping track of them, leading to much of his work being lost over time. Nevertheless, as he established himself in Paris, Delaney painted some of his most impressive works, including experiments with abstraction. Many of Delaney's Paris works are dominated by yellow, a bright color suited to the artist's preoccupation with light. In spite of the brightness of Delaney's paintings, trouble was brewing for the artist. Although highly regarded by fellow artists, Delaney was largely unrecognized by much of the art world establishment and had never achieved much financial success. His financial problems were exacerbated by his excessive generosity, which often led him to freely give away what little he earned. Beyond these problems, Delaney struggled with increasingly poor mental health exacerbated by years of alcohol abuse. He began suffering paranoia and hallucinations, convinced that an omnipresent and malevolent network of people he called the Evil Ones were always after him. By the 1970s, Delaney was also showing signs of Alzheimer's. Concerned for his well-being, Delaney's friends sought treatment for him at an institution where he would remain for the final years of his life, until his death in 1979. It's only recently that Delaney's work has been recognized for the remarkable expression of loving care evident in his bright colors and sweeping brushstrokes. Baldwin summarized Delaney's work best when he said of Delaney that great art can only be created out of love, and no greater lover has ever held a brush. Thanks so much for joining me on this one. Please let me know in the comments down below what you think of Delaney's work. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something new. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.